again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today we've got ourselves a really easy, lovely, textured kind of hat. This is the Puffy Moss Stitch hat. Yep. A while back I did a couple of tutorials on how to utilize this stitch, and I thought with the cold weather it was high time for me to do a hat tutorial for you guys. And by the way, this video is sponsored by Lion Brand. Thank you very much, Lion Brand, for your continued support throughout the years. I really appreciate it. And I used their yarn today. I used Lion Brand's Ferris wheel yarn. And as far as the specs, well, it's about 270 yards per cake, 100% acrylic, and it is a weight of 4. And the best part is, the colorway is Morning Java. Yep. And so with one of those cakes, I did this entire hat, and I had this much left over. I don't know offhand if it would be enough to make an entire hat, but pretty good as far as the yardage goes. And as far as the hook size, well, for the majority of the hat, I used a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. This is a size I. And then down here for the brim, this ribbing here, I used a 5 millimeter size H crochet hook. Now, of course, based on your gauge, your personal tension, if you use a different weight of yarn, you may need to, change the hook size. But that is, of course, subject to the user. At any rate, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Okay, first things first, right? Well, by the way, I am using the same brand of yarn today. This is Ferris wheel in the colorway of Full Moon. So, got our size I crochet hook. Start off with our slip knot and a chaining of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then slip stitch to that first chain to create a ring. And then we're going to work within that ring. Start by chaining up 1 and into the ring 6 single crochet stitches. Now the single crochets, that's really just to get us started. So we got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then that first single crochet that we created, slip stitch into that single crochet. And that is going to be round 1. Okay, row 2. Well, you could say row or round because we're not really going to be going in a spiral like most hat patterns. Going to start actually by chaining up 1, and then into that first single crochet stitch, we're going to be doing 2 puffy stitches. So going to go in with our hook, pull up a loop, then yarn over, and then go into that same stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 4 loops. And that's a puff. Then lock it in with a chain, going into that same stitch that we just went into, do another puff. So going in, pulling up a loop, yarn over, going in again, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4. So we've got 2 puffs in that 1 stitch, okay? And got a bit of a tangle, bear with me. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be increasing by creating 2 puffs per stitch. So we're going to go from 6 single crochets to a total of 12 puffs. So chain 1, and then into the next stitch, going to do the same thing. insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, then pull through all 4, chain 1, do another puff, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4. Okay, chain 1, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. So at this point we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Okay, and at this point we got this last stitch, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go in and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and then into that initial chain 1 that we did, go in with a slip stitch right on the side there. There we go. So at this point we should have a total of 12 puffy stitches. So let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Perfect. Okay, and that is the end of round 2. Okay, now round 3, we're not going to be increasing. Now, with a lot of trial and error, believe you me, I found that as far as the increase, what worked best for me is every other row or round to not increase, just work each stitch. So we're going to start off by chaining up 2, because it'll be a little bit easier to do the slip stitch at the end. Then turn the work, and into each puff we're going to do just 1 puff. So where to go into? Well, it's actually right underneath there, right here. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Then into the next, that spot right there. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. There we go. Pull through all 4, chain 1. Next one. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, and chain 1. So at the end of this round, it's going to be the same number. It's going to be 12 puffs. So I've already got 3. Okay. And 4. 5. Come on. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And don't forget to add your chains in between. $11, and one more. There we go. Now, if you find that it helps, you may want to put a little bit of scrap yarn or a stitch marker. See, I've done this a couple of times, so I can tell where the round begins and ends, because right there, that is the chaining of 2 that I did at the beginning of the round. And when you reach the end, well, you just go in to where that chain is and slip stitch to finish up the round. So that was our non-increase round. Round 4, we're going to continue on with our increases. So let's get to it. Okay, round 4, we're going to be doing another increase round. Now again, there was a lot of fiddling and finagling when it came to what would be a good rate of increase for this pattern. So start off by chaining up 2, turn the work, and we're going to do the same thing that we did previously. We're going to be doing 2 puffs per puff. Okay, so we're going to increase from 12 all the way up to 24. So, hopping into this stitch right here, not where we just started, but right over here, hopping in with 2 puffs. So yarn over, well, pulling up a loop, then yarn over, going in again, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4. So we're going to do that all the way around. Chain 1 into the next puff, right in there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and so I'm going to be doing this all the way around, making sure that there are 2 puffs per stitch. So at the end of this round, we're going to have a total of 24 puffs. Now, you're probably wondering, are we going to keep going at the same exponential rate? No, we are not. The reason why I wanted to do this is because it would be an increase of 12 stitches per increase when we keep going. The reason why is because I initially did, it was 6 stitches of an increase, and that gave me very definitive points around the circumference of the hat where you could see, all right, there's 6 increase points, and it created, to me, a bit of a weird shape. So that's why I opted for doing 12 increase points. That way it's, diffused better. All right. So that being said, in every stitch, 2 puffs, and then I'll meet back up with you for the end of the round. Alrighty, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm almost done with round 4, and right now I only have 22 puffs. I got my 21 and 22. 23 and 24 need to go right there. So let's hop right in with 23. Chain 1, another puff, and 24. Don't forget that chain 1, and then quite simply slip stitch into the chain that we created right on the edge here. Has a tendency of trying to hide, but look close and you'll see it. And then so slip stitch right into there, and that is the end of round 4. Now, round 5, again, it's going to be a non-increase round, which is going to sort of, create a bit of an equilibrium, since we did just a whole bunch of increasing by doing a round where it's just 1 stitch per stitch. It's going to reduce the sort of wibbly wobbliness of our the crown of the hat. Yes, that's the word, the crown. So start off by chaining 2, turn the work, and then into each puff do 1 puff. So at the end of this round, it's going to remain the same. It's going to be 24 puffs. So into there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and then advancing to the next puff, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, next puff, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, next puff, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and so on and so forth all the way around for round 5. Then round 6, we're going to increase again, but we're not going to be doubling each stitch. No, the rate of increase will be a little bit more measured and slower for the rest of the hat. So I will meet back up with you for round 6. Okay, I will see you shortly. Okay, round 6. Going to start off in the usual fashion by chaining up 2 and turning the work. Now, like I said, this is going to be another increase round. So how we're going to work it is it's going to be 2 puffs in the first stitch, then 1 puff in the next, then 2 puffs, then 1 puff, 2 puffs, then 1 puff, all the way around. So we're only going to be increasing by 12 puffs. So it's going to be from 24 puffs to a total of 36 puffs. So going to go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, then pull through all 4, chain 1, going into the same one, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4. So that's 2 puffs in the 1 stitch. Chain 1, don't forget that. Then into the next puff, just 1 puff. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. So one way that you can look at it is 1, 2, 3. Then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way around. So we did the 1 puff, so next one, it's going to be 2 puffs. So hopping in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4. Chain 1 into the same stitch, do another puff. Pulling up that loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Next, 1 puff. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. And if you look close, you can see that there's 2 going into that 1 stitch. And then we got the 1. So next one, yep, it's going to be 2 puffs into the next stitch. And believe it or not, this is going to be it as far as the increasing for this hat. And you're probably thinking, are you mad? Well, yes, partially, but actually I found that for an adult-sized hat, that is actually enough increasing because of the way that this piece will start to curve into the hat shape that we all know and love. Now, of course, you could do more increases if you so wished, but I've actually found that this works out pretty darn well. But let me just do a couple more stitches with you guys. So into this next one, we need to do the 2. So pulling up a loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4. Chain 1, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Next stitch, just 1 puff. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4. There we go. So we did the 2 and then the 1. Next one's going to be 2 again. So I got to chain 1, and then into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, and chain 1. And so it's just alternating back and forth between 2 puffs, 1 puff, 2 puffs, 1 puff, all the way around, and then when you reach the end of the round, just slip stitch into that chain 2 space. And so I'm going to go all the way around, finish it, and we shall continue. All right, see you shortly. Okay, so I'm almost done with round 6. I just have these 2 more stitches to work into. It's much clearer to see that I've got 2 in this stitch here and 1 in this stitch here. So from there, I'm going to go in here with 2 puffs, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Next stitch, just 1 puff, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and then to finish up this round, slip stitch into that chain 2, and shaboom. Okay, now for round 7, going to be doing just a regular round with no increases, because as you can see, it is pretty wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. And so by not adding any more increases, that will sort of create, like I said, an equilibrium to our piece. So from here, chain 2, turn the work, and then in every puff, do just 1 puff. So scooting into this first one, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Okay, then doing 1 puff for each of these puffs. So scooting right in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Next puff, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and so on and so forth for the rest of this round until you reach the very beginning, and you will slip stitch into that chain 2 that we created. And like I said before, if you are so inclined, yes, you could increase once again after this. You could do that. However, keep in mind that it will be an increase of 12 more stitches. Now, the reason why 36 stitches work, because it's 36 puffs. Okay, keep that in mind, separated by chain 1 spaces. And if you count those chain spaces as stitches later on when we're doing the brim, well, what's 36 times 2? 72, which is typically, a quote-unquote normal number of stitches for the circumference of a hat when you're crocheting in this gauge. So when we get to that point, as far as doing the brim, we're going to be creating a 1-by-1 ribbing. Now, of course, if you have another, idea for how to do a brim, you're more than welcome to do so. This is just me and my personal way of doing things, but it worked out very, very nicely for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this round off camera, and then, quite frankly, I'm going to continue to do my rounds without increasing any more stitches. Now, I will show you, though, if you want to, okay, if you want to keep increasing, I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to finish up this round first, And then I'm going to show you an alternative, method, if you want to keep going with your increasing. Totally up to you. So, you know what? I'm going to finish this up. I'll meet back up with you, and I'll see you shortly. Okay, so I'm almost done with round 7. I'm just going to do a couple more puffs, and then I'm going to show you the, alternative increase method if you so choose to use so. So just going to do a couple more. So pulling up that loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, one more. Pulling up a loop, yarn over, pulling up a loop, pull through all 4, chain 1, and then slip stitch into that initial chain 2 that we created to finish the round. Now, going to chain up 2, and so this would be, quote unquote, another increase round. Personally, I would not advise it, but I like to give you options. I do. That way also you can learn what works best for you. Now, if you wanted to do a further increase, going into this stitch, we're going to increase by doing 2 puffs. So that's 1. Same stitch, do another puff. Okay, so that's our 2 puffs. Then into the next 2 puffs, just do 1 puff per puff. So 1 puff. Much like how you would do an increase, like a single crochet increase when doing like amigurumi or, a single crochet hat, it's the same rate of increase. It's 2 in the same and then 2 regulars, if you will. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, as opposed to 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to continue on in the same rate, it would be 1, 2, then 3, and 4. So it would be 2 into this first stitch, and then 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Now, like I said before, yes, it would give you an increase of 12 more stitches. However, keep in mind that there will be an increase of those spaces in between. So if you have a really big hairdo, I have no hair at the moment, so I can't vouch, but if you have a really big hairdo, or if you want something very big and, billowy, if you will, for your hat, you may want to do this. I'm not going to, but I wanted to give you the option. So this would be another increase round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an option. I like giving you guys options, but I'm not going to go that route. So what I'm going to do is, let me just undo what I did there. Okay, back to square one. So what I'm going to do for the rest of the body of the hat, at the beginning of every round, just chaining up 2, turning the work, and then in every puff stitch, just do 1 puff stitch. And that's going to be for the remainder of the body of the hat. Just 1 puff stitch, next stitch, 1 puff stitch. That's it. And then, as the hat continues to get longer and bigger, the crown will start to behave better, if you will. Not be so wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. And then, once you've done enough rounds, you can then do the brimming, which I will show you how to do. I have done it on a number of my videos, but I like to be thorough. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed by doing the body of the hat off camera, and I will show you how to do the ribbed brim. And as always, there are timestamps for everything in the description box of my video so that you can hop around if you so choose. So, that being said, I'm going to keep going round and round and round. Just be sure that when you do go round and round, you get to the end, you slip stitch to your chain 2, and then turn your work, chain up 2, and then proceed by doing 1 puff per puff. Now, the reason why we turn our work, okay, is it creates an offset stagger to our stitches, which is what we need as far as the moss aspect of the stitch. How it's sort of interlocked and crisscrossed, that's how you get it, by doing the turning. That's very important. So, all that being said, I'm going to continue on working on my piece, just doing rounds with no increases. Get to the end of the round, slip stitch, chain up 2, turn, and so on and so forth. And yes, this is a bit wibbly wobbly, but as I keep going, it will create a nice domed shape for the crown of the hat, and I will show you how to do the brimming. So, I'll see you in a bit. I get tongue-tied. Yes, I will see you shortly, and we will do the brimming together. All right. Hello again. All right, so I've been working and working and working, and as you can see, the crown of the hat is a lot less wibbly-wobbly, and that the body of the hat is starting to form. Now, you can make the body of the hat as large as you want to. Personally, I like to work it until it's, I want to say maybe like 2-ish inches away from my ears, thereabouts, and then I like to start in with the brim, and I work that for a couple of rounds. Now, when you're ready for the brim, you're going to want to swap over to your slightly smaller hook. Like I said, we went from a size I 5.5 to a size H 5mm crochet hook. Now, of course, you would have more of the body of your hat worked up, but I wanted to give you a visual of, yes, what in fact does happen when you keep working it. And even though we only have 36 puffs, we also have the chain stitches in between those puffs, which gives this a bit more body. Now, when you are in fact ready to do your brim, I'm not going to turn my work anymore. So going to chain up 2, and then into every stitch all the way around, going to do a double crochet. And so it's not going to be 36, it's going to be 72. Now that chaining of 2 doesn't count as a stitch actually. So going to go right in with a double, and then immediately following, you can see where that is with another double. And so on and so forth all the way around, doing double crochets. Now, you could go underneath here, although I think going into the top of that stitch would look a little bit neater, just a little bit. Like so. And then going in here, that's the chain space, into the next one, and so on and so forth. So work your way all the way around doing your double crochet stitches. Now the reason why I swapped over to a slightly smaller hook is because it creates a nicer fit, I have found. And so, yeah, I'm just going to do this all the way around until I've reached the beginning. Then going to do a slip stitch join to the beginning of that first double that we created. And then we will do the actual 1-by-1 ribbing. So I'm going to work my way all the way around, and I will see you shortly. Okay, so I'm almost done doing my double crochets. This is basically creating a foundation for the brim that we're going to do. So I just have another stitch to do. Just scoot right into there. And then going to do a slip stitch. Now you could add an additional stitch if it looks a little bit cattywampus. It's not going to make a huge deal in the end. It all comes out in the wash. So from here, going to slip stitch into the top of that first double that we made, like so. Nice. Then chain up 2. Again, this doesn't count as a double crochet, just to give us the height, really. And that is our chain 2 from down below. So from here, around this double crochet, we're going to do a front post double crochet. So yarning over, going around the post, and double. So that's the front post. Then the next one, it's going to be a back post. So yarn over, then going around through the back of the work, around the post, and double. So it creates a bit of a horizontal ridge as opposed to a vertical bar. So then it's basically back and forth between front and back post double crochets. So let's do a couple of those together. So we've got a front post, and then a back post. And then a front post, and a back post. So in essence, we're creating a 1x1 rib for the brim. And of course, you can do as many or as few of these ribbing rounds as you so choose. But personally, I think it creates a really nice sort of finished look for the brim of your hat. And also, the ribbing does have a bit of an elastic quality to it. No elastic strips or that sort of thing required. No, we're doing it ourselves with the stitch and its texture alone. It's a fabulous thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this all the way around, going to show you how to finish up the round and continue on to do more of these rounds if you so choose. So I'm going to work my way around and I will see you shortly. Okay, so I've got a little bit more stitching to do for my initial round of ribbing, and then I'm going to show you how to continue on if you want your brim to be a little bit wider. So just got a couple more to do, so let's do them together. Back post, and then front, and back, and front. There we go. And then we have reached the beginning. Now we have a front post here, and we started with a front post. Now this chaining of 2 that we have here doesn't quite count as a stitch, but it works out just fine for our purposes because we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of that first front post, and it sort of creates the illusion that we're going for, because it almost looks like a back post there because it's sort of recessed in there. So to continue on, all you would need to do is chain up 2, and then front post around the front posts, and back post around the back posts. It's really easy to go on autopilot when the stitches are already telling you what to do. Front post around the front post, and back post around the back post. And it creates a really lovely, lovely texture for the brim. And for those of you that have been following me, you're probably familiar with that I do this sort of finishing for the majority of my hats because it's quick, it's simple, kind of traditional. At least it's a tradition for me. And I think that it works out pretty darn well. Just use a slightly smaller gauge hook and do a 1x1 ribbing after doing a round of double crochets for the foundation, and it works out pretty darn well. And personally, I think that 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds of the 1x1 ribbing creates a really nice brim. So there you have it. Just keep going around and around, and then slip stitch to the first front post double crochet, and when you're done, snip your yarn and sew in your ends, and there you go. Alrighty, my dears, so that's going to conclude today's tutorial on the Puffy Moss Stitch hat. Really hope that you liked it, and if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know that I appreciate your appreciation as always. And a big old thank you to Lion Brand for sponsoring this video. Link to where you can find this yarn is going to be in the description box down below. And you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a great day.